Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Money Monkey Africa. As we prepare for the CMS Africa Summit 2023, I got the privilege to talk to Sam Mwangi, who is the CEO and founder of Socialmeds Digital. Socialmeds Digital is a digital marketing agency that I have been privileged to work with for over a year. Sam Mwangi is a prolific digital marketer and digital strategist. And this is what he had to say in regard to digital marketing. Today we're going to talk about digital marketing because Socialmeds Digital is an agency that has really focused in digital marketing, and it being a space that's currently growing and currently booming in terms of the government and all the stories about the finance bill and whatnot. So today we're just going to delve into that and get some insights into that industry. So for me, the biggest question I've always wanted to ask is why digital marketing? Yeah.
All right. Maybe I can start with why Socialmeds? Yes. Okay. So Socialmeds reads Social Meds, but the original name was Social Media Services. That was the idea.
Okay.
We want to do professional social media services for brands, but you see that doesn't read Social Meds, it reads Social Meds.
Yes. Yeah.
So then some clients started asking us, so you guys the doctors of our social media? And we were like, oh, Mepata, we are the doctors of your social media. Social media, because we realized that consumption of content is moving more towards the mobile device. And on the mobile device is where you access social media platforms. So because content consumption was heavily moving into the phone and digital space, that's why we chose to focus in the social media space. And so far, it's been a good journey.
Okay, interesting. For me, it was just mainly, I actually did not know I was going to land in social media. So it was just one of those things you just slip into and you're like, okay, I like this, so let's continue with it. So if I came to you as a client and I want digital marketing services, what are some of the things that I would want to look into? Like, what would you tell me?
Well, thanks for that. We have been blessed to work with over 80 clients, both locally and internationally, and our focus is on clients who are within the manufacturing space or what we call mass market brands. So brands that have tens of thousands of customers. If you came to us and wanted some services, we'd look at 4 key things. One is an audit. What are you doing on the digital space currently? What are your competitors and benchmarks doing? And then what do you want to achieve? Then strategy. How are we going to achieve what we've said we want to achieve? Then solution, which is now the implementation. How are we going to do this on a day-to-day basis? Do we need to record some videos like these ones for your branding? Do we need to have posts? How many posts? How many platforms? How do we do the responding? What's the crisis management module? So that's all part of the solution. And then impact assessment, which is reporting. How are we going to be reporting on this work? So those are the 4 key things that we'd have to start the conversation with to be able to get to know how we can work together.
So you said you've worked with over 80 clients. Assuming there's one particular one that you're like, okay, this one was my favorite client, which one would that be?
Well, we really sign a lot of NDAs with these things because of also competition is stiff neck. So some brands don't want other brands that are their competitors to know that you've worked for them because of competitive factors. But one that I know I can mention is Kimfe. We worked with Kimfe some years back. Kimfe is the manufacturer that produces face tissues, face serviettes, and a variety of face products, as well as other brands such as bio oil. That's still under Kimfe. So we had a campaign called Thanks Mom, and the campaign was simply meant to do that, to thank your mom. Then we phased it out, and for example, we had Thanks Mom for moms who have since left us, moms who have passed on. What's the one thing you'd like to say about your mom that you'll never forget that she taught you? Then we had a Thanks Mom for young moms. Who is a young mom that that really kicks it, at the workplace and also in life that you'd want to appreciate? We phased it out over a couple of weeks, and each week had its own different theme. And then we were getting a lot of sentimental comments coming in. then we mixed it up with giveaways. So we were giving away goodies, gift bags, restaurant vouchers for people to go with their moms or with their friends as part of the Thanks Mom campaign. Why I really loved that campaign was it wasn't sales driven, but it led to a lot of sales.
Yeah.
So that's what we call a brand love campaign. When you pick and you realize that this is the consumer that I want to focus on, and then instead of selling to them, you do a campaign that appreciates them.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if I go to the supermarket or, the house girl goes or the child goes, who gets to decide which brand of tissue paper comes home?
The mom, yeah.
It's the mom.
Yeah.
So that's a campaign that I would say I was really privileged to be a part of.
Okay. So one thing I've known about you is that you always lead with strategy. Everything in terms of like the work you do is always led with strategy. And I've worked with a couple of brands, and that's one thing that people are always lacking. They're like, sintatafuta tu mtu wa social media tu wao wakulipa 5k atanitengenezea posts, things like that. So what's the one thing that you'd say, like, why strategy? Why is strategy very important in digital marketing?
Yeah, thanks for that question. I like to give analogies and comparisons when it comes to these things. This building that we're in here is called Applewood Adams.
Yeah.
It's a very iconic building in this area, so many floors, so many office spaces. If the developer had just gotten one person and told them, you can do the building for me. You're an engineer, you can do it. Even when you're done, you can do the metal work, you can do the plumbing, you can do the electricity, you can do the painting, even the interior decor, you can do it. If that's something that a lot of people can't think of happening, like we always know that when you're doing a construction, even your own home, you're going to have an engineer, you're going to have an architect, you're going to have a plumber, you're going to have this, you're going to have that. Then why don't we have the same mentality when it comes to marketing? Whereas you find a lot of brands will easily, as you've said, just have one person that they give and tell, you're going to do everything. But these things that are being done are highly specialized. So I'd say we lead with strategy because of the outcome that we want, because the outcome that comes from a team that is strategy driven cannot be compared with the outcome that comes from non-strategy driven. Yeah. So that's why I would say leading with strategy. Just putting the same analogy. When you have more specialization in the process, then the output is better at each level. If you're starting out as a consultant in the marketing space, there are a lot of fish in the sea.
Yes.
And we're not enough fishermen. The work potential is a lot. And sometimes you may want to try and do it perfectly and, put it together in such a good way. But all you need is one paying customer that you've been able to sell, that you can do the solution for them. And then from there, you make a promise and then you deliver on it. The rest is just the process, because now you continue building on that solution, then you continue building on that trust, and from that trust you get referrals, and from those referrals you get more work, then you even get to a place where you start pitching and you grow it from there. So I just say don't overthink it. Look for one person who's willing to believe in you, pitch the solution, and then from there deliver it and build on that day after day, month after month, year after year. There's no one path to where, for example, Socialmeds has reached. It's been a combination of many things.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. There's one thing that I've seen like on Twitter a lot, and also just basically social media in general. The finance bill is talking about the 15%, and a lot of people don't really understand how it's going to affect them, especially content creators. So if you can shed some light on how that can affect also as an agency, how does that affect your costing and all that?
Yeah, so interestingly, the person who will be impacted the most is the actual influencer. Because typically what happens in an economy is when taxes go up, then the entities that are affected just increase their prices. So then now the actual amount that goes up to the consumer is the consumer who pays for it, because everybody else in the chain will cover their margin. So for example, for influencers, currently what happens is because they're engaged as consultants for brands, because it's mostly short-term or immediate-term engagements, they only get withheld 5%. So with this new bill of 15%, it simply means that for the same influencer who would have paid 100,000 for something, and then we withhold 5% and submit it to KRA, and then they will get their slip plus their 95,000. Now we will withhold 15,000 and they get their 85,000.
Yeah.
And when we withhold it, we have to submit it still to KRA. Yeah, because all the amount has to be accounted for. So I'd say it's really gonna influence content creators because they're moving from getting taxed 5% to getting taxed 15%. Because with brands, a lot of brands have budgets that are set at the beginning of their financial year, whether the beginning of the financial year is July or January. So if the budget for influencers was, say, 1 million or 5 million, it still remains the same. But now those influencers who are going to be taxed 5%, now they'll be taxed 15%, because brands will not increase their budgets to accommodate the tax. It's influencers who will now have to cushion the reduction.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I come to you again as Daphne. Daphne has an online business, right? What are some of the main things that go into digital marketing? I know there's the buying of media buying, there's the influencer. What are some of these particular things that people who are managing businesses online should consider?
Let me know what kind of business. Let's make it a bit more practical. Yeah. Let's do an actual example.
Let's say
you don't have to name a brand.
An e-commerce brand, sizably large, let's say, or let's start small e-commerce brand.
What are they selling? Could be fruits, could be,
let's do fashion. Yeah.
So makeup and clothes?
Yes.
Or just clothes? Both?
Yeah.
All right. So the things that need to be done are, one, an audit of the presence. If the e-commerce site exists, how many people are visiting it on a weekly basis and on a monthly basis? There are numbers when it comes to e-commerce. So for example, a customer needs to stay on that website for between 3 and 6 minutes for it to be a good e-commerce site. Otherwise, if customers are coming and leaving after 5, 10, 15 seconds, then now we start investigating why are they leaving. Maybe it looks so good on the page, but when you're loading it on an Android, it doesn't load as well as when it loads on iOS. So those are now some of the granular things that we start to look at. And generally, we'll look at an audit of the presence. So how many people are coming to the e-commerce website, then the social media pages, how many are they, and how many are driving people back to the e-commerce website. What are the numbers? Because when it comes to e-commerce, it's a numbers game purely. Because for you to convert, say, 100 customers, you find maybe you may need 500,000 to have landed on the page. Just an example. And e-commerce, a good conversion rate is anywhere between 1% and 3%.
Okay.
So if you're having 1 million visits, you're converting 10,000. Yeah. So those are the numbers we'd look at, and then we'd look at how the social media platforms have been building to those numbers, and then now we'd investigate the user experience. When I go on Facebook and then I see the post, and then it leads me back to the e-commerce site, and then I go there, am I able to order as fast?
Yeah.
Or am I only able to order fast when I'm coming directly to the e-commerce platform?
Yeah.
So from that audit that we conduct and getting a look at all the different platforms and how they all lead up to the numbers and how those numbers convert, then we come up with strategies and solutions, and then we implement them, which is now execution. And then now we measure on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis whether we're moving from where we were to where we said we want to get to. So that's the simple process that would take you through, or any other business for that matter.
Yeah.
It would be first to look
At the audit and
then to compare also with people within your space that are selling the same or similar to your target audience. And then next is now to come up with a strategy, execute it, and then what we want to be measuring and what we are measuring towards in terms of the goals. And then that's how we would run the digital marketing solution for your brand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you today. I think that's all we have for today.
Yeah.
I think guys should expect more from the summit, which will be on the 18th of August. Sorry. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Daphne, your host. as we prepare for CMS Africa Summit, you should buy your tickets because now you'll get to learn more from Sam, who's a digital marketing enthusiast, and you can learn more about how to manage your business online. So I'll see you in the next episode.